Andrew Mackenzie, art historian extraordinaire. We are at the Vic Arts Society in the room where Dame Nellie Melba held her school.
That's right, yes. The Albert Street Conservatorium was set up here in 1901 with Melba's blessing, and Melba actually taught here in this room from 1915. It was 10 days before the Gallipoli campaign, so it was the 15th of April she started in 1915. And from that time on, until her death in 1931, she regularly came here, especially obviously when she was in Australia and in Melbourne, regularly came here at least twice a week to give lessons to hundreds of students.
And she was very important in the social aspect of this whole place as well.
She was, and the book I'm holding here, Melba's Gift Book, was created in 1915 to raise money for the Belgian war effort. But in this book there are 30 works by 30 of the artists, the majority of them artists from this society. So she was helping through this book, not only raising money, but also promoting the artists of this society.
And Andrew, the names of some of those artists that were here at the time, the Streetons, the Tom Roberts, the Walter Withers, and that, this was really a centre of social activity, and it would have been right up Nellie's street, as one might say.
It certainly was, and I mean, Melba was very good friends with a number of these artists, including Street, and of course, when the visiting Hans Hyson came over, she befriended Heiss and invited him out to Coombe Cottage. But the important thing with this, it wasn't just the male artists too. In the book that I just showed you, there were quite a few illustrations by the women artists as well. So she was very, very supportive of the arts, both male and female artists of that time.
And obviously people would come to hear sing, and we have one of our ex-presidents, Noel Waite, who's going to unveil the plaque. She remembers concerts in the galleries. There
were concerts, there were often parties that Melba organised, farewell parties for Melba as she headed off overseas. She even felt that the students deserved to have a special uniform, so she designed a uniform, a gabardine white uniform for them.
Now tell us about that in detail, because I think that this will be very impressive for the aficionados.
Well, it was a white gabardine smock, basically, with a red M over the right breast, and with white stockings and white shoes that the girls used to wear. The girls suggested that it was a very dowdy uniform, and were not all that impressed with it. But she not only produced that, but she felt that the bel canto music that she'd been taught, the way of singing, was tremendously important to get that across to her students. And she created her own Melba method, with her symbol, the M on the front of this, the Melba method. And in this book, the Melba method by Dame Nellie Melba, parts 1 and 2, and each of the students were asked to get hold of a copy of this to help them with their lessons.
Now today, of course, we're unveiling a plaque which has been donated to the Victorian Artists Society by the Bottle Brush Club. Now, what's the connection between the Bottle Brush Club, Dame Nellie Melba, and the Vic Arts?
Well, the Bottle Brush Club, of course, was set up by a number of artists in the 1950s. It was set up at a time when the Albert Street Conservatorium actually changed its name to the Dame Nellie Melba Conservatorium. There is no direct connection other than the fact that the Bottle Brush Club has been very supportive of the fact that Nellie Melba has been within this building, and that one of the members of the Bottle Brush Club, Keith Dow, is a relative of Dame Nellie Melba.
And so interestingly, the Bottle Brush Club meets here.
We meet here regularly each month, yes. It's a club of elders of the Victorian Artists Society members, ones that can look at what's going on within the society, but also look at what's going on within the arts in Melbourne and see what ways we can help out.
Andrew, I understand there's a couple of things that you've got there that we can have a little look at. What have you got?
Well, Melba was very involved As I said, she started singing here in just before Gallipoli, and at Gallipoli, unfortunately, she lost 5 of her relatives. This spurred her on to doing concerts and auctions of items to raise money for the war effort. And one of these was this patriotic concerts. This is one of the earliest ones that she gave for the Australian Red Cross, which in those days was the British Red Cross, but the Australian version of it. And she not only gave concerts here to raise money for the Red Cross, but during that war period, she went to America, she went to Canada, and certainly she went to England to give concerts to raise money. The raising of the money, she raised nearly £100,000 during those 3 years, and the King and the hierarchy in England were so impressed with her, they made her a Dame of the British Empire in March 1918.
And probably that is a lovely way to finish it. Dame Nellie Melba, a very important part of the foundation of the Victorian Artists Society. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you, Ron.